Talk, where the topics are real, relevant, and relaxing. It's Tea Talk time, and here is Lady O.
Well, welcome to Tea Talk. I am so happy to see each and every one of you. Today, we have an amazing topic that we're going to be discussing, and it's all about the youth. I don't know if you can remember back when you were young and in high school and in college, trying to navigate your way. And I don't know about you, but my mother brought me up in the church, and I had so many aunties and uncles and people helping to navigate me this way and that way. But we're going to be talking about that today, and we have some very special guests on who have been there, done that, and are still doing that. And so that's going to be really, really special for them to share with you their journey. But also they have a teen conference that's coming up next weekend. So they're going to tell you about that. So why don't you go ahead and email your friends, tell them get on, share this with someone, because we have an event that's coming up that they don't want to miss. But I want you to get to know the players tonight, who's going to be there, who's going to be running it, and they're going to whet your appetite. I don't know about you, but when I go out to dinner, I like to have an appetizer. So this is your appetizer. So tell your family and friends to get on. And this is for high school students, boys and girls. It's for youth workers, for college students, young adults, anybody that loves young adults and teens. And I don't know about you, I do, because they keep me young. Don't I look young? So they keep me young. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first guest. And then we're going to go on and talk about the wonderful, wonderful things that are about to happen next weekend. So save the date. And let's go ahead and bring on the Tea Talk, Jordan and Michelle Ogletree. Let's give them a hand. Hello, Jordan and Michelle.
Hello, Lady O.
Hello.
Well, listen, welcome to Tea Talk, and we're so excited to hear about what you two have been working on for the last couple of weeks. I've seen you going here and there, and I know you're just like that mother hen getting her nest ready, because there's something that's about to happen very, very soon next week. Now, before we talk about that, I want my audience to know who you are and to let them know that they want to come out and hear what you have been planning, because you're very qualified, very excited about it. So why don't you go ahead and just kind of, first of all, let's introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about you and how you got involved in working with teens.
You can go first.
Okay. Well, I got involved through marriage. How about that?
I thought he should go first.
I thought he would too. I married Jordan Ogletree, your son.
Yes.
Who is clearly been called to the ministry, and thus so am I now. And it's been amazing serving alongside Jordan. The ministry started in 2016. 122. And before that, obviously, I was involved in the church before that anyway, since we got married in 2012. And even before we were married, I was doing the Christmas play and Hallelujah Fest and all of the things that I played to my giftings. And so 122 has been an opportunity, like you said, Lady O, to work with teens. The ministry is for 7th through 12th graders. But for Rewired, we open up the window to rising sixth graders to going off to college freshmen. So that's who the conference is for. But yes, since 122 has started, we have been loving on the teens. We've been at Jordan as like a music producer and me as a performer, and us both being theatrical, and the Ogletrees in general being theatrical people. We have been wanting to create wow experiences where the teens will find Jesus, and not only Jesus, but fellowship with their neighbors. We want to make church fun. Yeah. And that's what we've been doing from the very beginning. And of course, having the meat there, which is the word, having that sustenance for them and getting them to have that relationship with Christ, go to the Bible for real life answers, real life questions, real life issues that they're having, and get involved. involved.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's good. And I'm glad you said that to get involved, because teenagers, well, all of us have issues, okay? We just have issues at different seasons and different stages. But we know at this age where to go, and we've kind of had a little experience. But when you get your teenagers in there, they got a lot of people giving them information from Facebook to Snap and whatever chatting they're doing. But but they need to have a village, and that's what First Metropolitan Church is. And let me just say this before I bring on my son. But he has always been in the church, so it was not an option for him to go to church or be involved. And I can see the fruit right now. It's been really good. So Pastor Jordan Ogletree of the 122 Youth Ministry, tell us about your life and how wonderful your mother is. And now, go ahead.
Oh, well, I definitely got to start with how wonderful my mother is. I wouldn't be here without my mother. So, Lady O, you're awesome. You carried me while the church was being founded. So I am the official baby of First Metropolitan Church, and it's been wonderful to grow up in such a loving family, a family that loves God, a family that definitely raised me right, and gave me instruction and correction and guidance along the way. And one of my best memories as a child was not just our core family, but the family I experienced at First Metropolitan Church, going to church every day of the week, seemed like, as a kid, and playing
every day.
Yeah. While y'all were in meetings, we'd be out, playing, and it's always been like a second family. So much, there's not really any time where I don't travel somewhere and I try to connect or reach out to somebody who went to First Met, who lives in a different city or something like that. But First Met is just family. It is family, right. And I think that's so important, and plays such an important role with my upcoming. And I was very involved in the youth ministry as well, and that's part of what leads my passion to serve youth. Is I had so many influential people pour into me when I was a youth that loved on me when I made mistakes, kept me from making some mistakes, taught me the word of God, that we had fun, we traveled, we did things together. And so I want to recreate that and give that back to youth, because I really believe that's where you got to catch them. And so that's me. I've been involved in First Met since I was born, and been the youth pastor, I guess, eventually since 2016. And Rewired has always been a vision of ours since the foundation of this ministry, to have an event that sends kids or sends youth back into the school year motivated, inspired, and on fire for Jesus. And so we definitely give them that spiritual component. We entertain, we have fun, but we also try to attack or address applicable life skills. And one of the things that is important for me is that kids be able to see somebody they can actually talk to, touch and feel and interact with, somebody who's been where they want to go. And so we bring back young entrepreneurs, we bring back college students, and just young people who are successful entertainers, actors. We've had PR, engineers, everybody. We brought all kinds of people back to speak to the teams. And one of the great things is, a lot of the times, those people that we bring back are people who grew up in First Met, who 122 products came out of the youth ministry. And so all that is just why I'm so happy.
As a result of your training. I mean, when you train them up, then they come back and they're trained. And speaking of that, let's segue into one of the young ladies that's here as our guest, that's going to talk about, because she's a product of 122 and First Metropolitan Teens and Youth. I think she was even here, and I'll let her tell you, I think she was here with the youth part. It kind of grew all the way up. And she is an excellent example of what it can look like to have your child in church and impacted by godly people. So Miss Amari, would you say hello? Welcome to Tea Talk.
Hi, thank you for having me and asking me to be a part of this. Yeah, like Lady O was saying, I've been a member of First Met for a very long time. I think since I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade, I would say. And so now I'm 22. I just graduated college, which is very exciting. and I work downtown. So very excited. I graduated and I have a job. So that's definitely a
Hey,
plus.
that's a plus right there. She is graduate and she has a job. And then tell them a little bit about you graduated in a special kind of way, right?
I did. So I graduated summa cum laude, which is like the highest honors at my university, which is really exciting. It was a long journey and it was tough at some parts. So I was very grateful and blessed to have been able to graduate with those honors and also just to have left with some really good memories.
Great. Now tell us about what has being a part of a village like First Met in raising, growing up in the church and going through teen ministry. Because I know a lot of times people have their kids in little church, but then when they get to be teenagers, they kind of let them they don't want to come. But you've been a part of the teen ministry as well, 122 in some of the conferences. Can you talk about how important that is and how it has impacted you? Encourage these parents to let them know that you need to have them there, whether they want to be there or not.
For sure. So I think for me, especially in my teen years, my mom really didn't like have to make me go. I kind of wanted to go to a lot of things. And I think for me, what really motivated me to be that way was just the friendships I'd created in the church and also that sense of community. And so like as a young adult and a teenager especially, you're going through a lot of things, and having community, especially with other people of your age, is so important. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I had from First Met was like some of my closest friends and some of the people that I really felt most comfortable walking in my journey of faith with were people from the church. And so going to events and going upstairs on Sundays for me was a way to really reconnect and kind of have discussions about faith and life and school and a whole host of things that you may not necessarily be able to discuss with people outside of the church. I know personally, like I have a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds. Not all of them are necessarily Christian and not all of them practice their faith in the same way that I do. And so having a group of people who do and who have similar beliefs to me and who believe in expressing their faith in a similar way that I do was definitely something that carried me through high school and into my early college years, and something that I value a lot. And I think that a lot of teenagers will gain a lot of value out of.
Wow. Now you can see why her teen pastors say that she is the rock star, which are 122 rock star.
Yes.
What a great example and a great product. I know you guys are so proud as we all are First Met when Amari graduated. And so we were all cheering, and some of the First Met people came to your graduation because they were friends that you had met. And that's just that connection that will never go away, because the thing that I know, being a counselor with children from small up, friendship is so important. If you don't have friends, it's very difficult to get through those young years. All the years, but especially those years. I think that's why Facebook is so important. Everybody wants to have a friend or be somebody's bestie or whatever. So, well, thank you for sharing that. We're going to come back to you in a minute. Do you have did you have a specific memory that I know you said having all the friends, but do you remember any of the times? I know y'all had certain Sundays, y'all would have a fun day. You go out to different activities and so forth. So can you tell us a little bit about some of those fun things that you do when you come to First Met 122?
Yeah, so I remember, I think it was the summer when we first launched 122, we had this artist come, and I can't remember what his last name was, but I remember his first name was Austin. It was Austin something. And so that was a really fun Sunday. He's a Christian artist. We had
Austin Lanier.
Austin Lanier. There we go. Very fun. We were singing his song Me Time for months. It was a whole thing and it was so fun. And then just having Sunday fun days were always really fun. We'd play games, really kind of foster that sense of community, which I think is so important. Just because teenagers do have like short attention spans and they need to be entertained. And that's just kind of the name of the game. And so it really offered kind of a break, and it offered a way for us to kind of talk with each other and get to know other teens upstairs, maybe people that you necessarily don't talk to every Sunday. And so that was really great. And then also like to have food up there, which was really fun because most teenagers are it's about lunchtime. So, have a little snack up there, which is really cool. And then I remember we also had an outing, and I cannot remember, it wasn't main event, but you know what I'm talking about, like the place we went to, and it was really fun. They had like an arcade area, and they also had like this little tightrope gymnasium situation going on. And we got to invite friends, even people who aren't members of the church, which was really fun because then that I feel like gave us a chance to further build that connectivity. And then also like, I know like some of my friends from the church, like Ileana, she's one of my closest friends, and she's close, like she became friends with some of my closest friends just through having those opportunities of opening up the teen ministry to other teens who don't necessarily go to the church every day. And then I think it also kind of opens the door and provides a window for teens maybe looking for a church home or who are interested in finding other places to attend to be able to go. And so I think those are probably some of my favorite memories, like off the top of my head.
Right. And as you were talking, I was thinking about this is the way that you can disciple others without coming up and say, do you know Jesus? You can say, hey, can you come go to the main event with me? My church, we're going to be having this. And so once they get to see you as people and fun and so forth, then you can invite them to Bible study or to some of the other things where they're teaching the Word of God, because the main thing is to get the Word of God in them. But these vehicles are very important. So, and you got to have some wonderful leaders too. And I want these leaders here, I know not because they're my relatives, but they are so engaging and so funny. And so what makes you want to be around these teen leaders here? Tell me about them. Are they really... Amari, tell me about these teen leaders.
Tell us about it, Amari.
Yeah, Mr. Shaw's acting all hard, but no, they really are very fun. And I think they just help to foster kind of that open community upstairs, which is nice. And they kind of offer like someone, if you want to talk about certain things, it's really nice to have at least two leaders, like, because there might be something you may want to talk with Mr. Jordan about. And then maybe, especially like as a young woman, something you want to talk with Miss Michelle about. And so I think just having that support and like having adults who kind of put it out there that they want to be there as like a pillar of support for you, especially when you're going through such an impactful time in your life, just because like those teen years they kind of shape you to who you're going to be when you're a young adult, and that shapes you who you're going to be when you're a real adult. And so I think having all the support and all the help and guidance that you can from a variety of different avenues and a variety of different people is such an important thing. And so that's one of the things that definitely our teen leaders helped us with.
Well, I'm so excited about that. And one of the things that we try to do at First Met, we try to have couples work together because the very reason, like you said, the boys might have something they want to discuss that's just for boys, or the leader may have to say, hey, guys, we need to come talk. And they've got a man who can talk that to them, rather than the teen leader being just female, or the vice versa. You got just a teen leader who's a male, and you got females in here that need to have another female to talk to. So I commend you guys. You guys are really great. I know Michelle is into acting, and she's an actress. You can find her at the Ensemble in the Alley Theater, and she is very, what do you call it? Not comical, but the word I'm trying to say, anyway, she really gets into it. It's
expressive.
Yeah, very expressive, not boring, that kind of thing. And Pastor Jordan, the same thing, he can relate. So tell me, guys, what is the mission of 122? What time do you meet, and can anybody come?
Yeah, in simple, we want to give teens a good start. And that comes from training a child up in the way they should go. When they're older, they won't depart from it. We want to create wow experiences. That's experiences that literally make you say, wow. And we want this to be the most fun any teen has had all week whenever they interact with us, whether that's on Sunday mornings or whether that's on events like this. We want them to say that was the most fun I had all week. We want to be the talk of every teen when they're at school. If they're talking about their experience at church, they are in a conversation that can lead to discipleship and evangelism. And so that's the mission for 122. Rewired's specific mission, like I mentioned earlier, is one, fun, have a fun and powerful event that kind of springs youth back into the school year, which is why every year it takes place on the first weekend of August. And then obviously there's always a spiritual component. We want to lead people to get to know Christ and get to know and develop their relationship with Christ better. And then lastly, we want to give them real experiences that they can apply in life. And so that's why we do some type of college and career panel. Some years we've done breakouts where we kind of dive into different areas. I remember one year we had teens do like a vision board. We had them write, I think, a letter to like their future self, things like that.
Very creative, yeah. And I want to talk about that too a little bit more after I get Sister Tracy on, because I do want her to come because she's a product. She, her husband, and her son, they're still in 122. Amari has graduated, and thank God she's coming back to give back to the teens that are in there. So she is now a leader. But we have Sister Tracy and Brother Mike and Mike Jr. that are going to come on. I want them to share with you because they're right in the thick of things. Mike Jr., are you there, Tracy? Hi, Tracy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Tea Talk. And we want to talk because I know I've got a lot of things to talk to you about because I want you to talk about first, first met in 122 and your family, what this ministry has meant to you. And then I know you're going to be talking about the upcoming event. But right now, I want you to talk about what 122 has meant to you, because I know you have only one child, so you got to get it right this first time. And you've not been this way before. What has First Met Teen Ministry and 122 meant to you as a parent?
First off, I am just so glad to be able to talk about just the importance of, I think Pastor Jordan mentioned the importance of having your child in church. You train them up in church, and then as they get older, they won't depart. And that's how I was trained. And, sometimes you wonder, is it sinking in? Are they getting it? Do they get it? Do they get it? And as I've gotten older, my parents told me, I don't care if you like it or not, you're going. Mm-hmm. And as I've gotten older and I departed, I went away for a little bit, but now I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm like, I'm so glad my mom made me. She didn't ask me if I want to go to church. She told me I was going. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm bringing that up is I cannot tell you, we joined First Met right before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And we were there for a few months and we went right into it. So everything went virtual. But the beauty of it is 122 still engaged my son. He was still involved, that he was still the activity, it kept the beat, they said the beat goes on, it kept going. Mm-hmm. And that was a concern. We were looking for a church because my husband and I, Brother Walker, we were going from church to church, and we're like, we got to find a church that's not just feeding us, mm-hmm. but it's feeding our son. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to talk about this in just a moment. Our kids are dealing with some stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And they need to be able to have an outlet, have a place to go. They need to have a solid rock. And I'm so appreciative that 122 offered that for him. And like I said before in the announcements, the kids don't tell us everything. It's
They're not going to talk to their parents. We didn't talk to our parents.
We didn't talk to our parents. And I know he has stuff going on. He's not going to tell me.
He's not going to tell you. So you need that other part of the village that can kind of get to them, that they'll listen to. That's the other thing too. They're not going to listen to their parents, but they'll listen to their teachers, they'll listen to their peers. So the environment is set that you can bring them in a safe place that somebody's going to be helping you push the right thing in that training.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a blessing because, I wonder, is he listening? Is he paying attention? But there have been things that have happened in his life, and it lets me know it's sinking in. Maybe a little, some days, maybe not as fast as others, but he's listening.
It's in there. It's in there somewhere.
It's in there. It's in there. And that's what matters. It's in there. And he loves the activities. It's not just we're just sitting there and it's just humdrum. He's getting real life stuff that's helping him deal with some of the things that teenagers are dealing with. Right. And learning how to navigate through, these different things that they're dealing with.
Right. And we're going to talk about those because I know you're one of the speakers, and I think that's another thing that you represent, not only a parent that comes and drops, but you're a parent that gets involved to help, because one of the big problems we have with churches today is a lack of volunteers to come out and help. So I want to commend you for that, and your husband. So are they going to be able to come on tonight? I wanted them to see Mike Jr. And his dad, if they can get on, because I hear there's a proud dad. Hey there, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Can you give us an overview too of what the youth ministry of First Metropolitan Church has meant to you as parents and for your son?
I mean, honestly, I think it's meant everything to us because, like my wife said earlier, when we first came and first met, that's what we were looking for. Because there are a lot of churches that may cater to adults, but you want a church that has a youth ministry that's active, that's engaging, where you feel like they care about your child. Because at the end of the day, when you drop them off, you want to feel like, I mean, they care enough to at least for that hour, if nothing else, right? An hour and a half. But what's interesting to me is when we first met, like I said, when we went to virtual for the pandemic and all of that, it was so amazing to me, some of the things that he would tell me, Pastor Jordan said this, Pastor Jordan said that. And I'm thinking, boy, I told you that. But
I already told you that.
It's just like I never said it. Pastor Jordan was the first one to ever say it, which is cool. Because hey, so Pastor Jordan became my friend just based on the fact that he was saying all these things that I've always hoped and wished that I thought I had said. But that means a lot. And so I'm very, very thankful.
It's like reinforcement. When you said that, I thought about, we always need some reinforcement. When you step out to do your thing, you go, anybody backing me up here?
Yeah, he was definitely backing me up, because obviously he was telling him, all of the things that, we want and believe in, what we've been sharing with him as well as parents. But obviously, like we said, the village, Pastor Jordan and Sister Michelle, they represent, I guess, the cooler version of
exactly. Ones that are cool, that they will listen to, that really knows what's going on. And that's really important, because that's why we want young people in there closer to their age, because what they typically do is they won't listen to their parents, they go listen to their peers, which don't know anything, and then they get off in the wrong direction because they're listening to their 14-year-old friend who they think knows everything that's cool. But now you have someone else who's a little bit younger that they think that's cool, but is mature enough with a plan in place to make sure they are navigated the right way. So, well, where's Mike Jr.? I heard he got something special today.
Yes, okay. He's